Hello there, YouTubers and God's honors. I had a message on my YouTube this morning from a guy. I think it's a guy, I'm not sure. By the name of K. Cal Moot. And the message said, that was sent to me, he says, this is what troubles me about the Bible still. And then he clips on a video. And the video that he clips on for me to watch is a video by a guy by the name of Eternally Aware. And I watched a couple of guys' video. I thought the guy was cool. Obviously he's very intelligent, and obviously he is a seeker, and he's given much thought to the Bible. And but sadly, at the end of his video, and the name of that video, by the way, in case you want to look at it, is Human Sacrifice. And sadly, at the end of that video, he comes to say that he can't follow a God or believe a God is good that would do this to this particular story in the Bible. And the story is about a Jephthah of Gilead, where he's in a war. He's asking God for help. God helps him, and then he makes a deal with God that if he wins this battle, he's going to sacrifice the first thing that walks through the door that greets him at his house. And the guy's doing a superb job of explaining this story and reading it as he goes in the Bible, and it really makes it easy for you to understand his points and whatnot. And the guy's point is, why doesn't God intercess here and stop the guy from saying what he said if God's omnipotent? And obviously that God knew the first person that walked through his door when he went home was going to be his little daughter. And so that he goes home, and the daughter walks in, and the guy rinses his clothes, and he's wailing, he's crying, and this guy that made the video, Eternally Aware, his thought is, God must be a pretty evil guy, or an evil God, that he would allow such a thing. And I guess the gist of what he's coming to is he didn't want to follow a God out of that Bible that would do such a thing. But I've been thinking on this during the day. I've been getting ready for a big storm down here. I'm down south, and we're finna get hit by a storm. I've been working in the barn, and this thought just keeps going through my head as I'm working, that I can understand and see your point, but your point really doesn't go past the flesh. And God's point goes past the flesh. I don't think God really gives a damn about our flesh. I think God really cares about our souls. And then the state that our souls are in now is for shit. So he really don't, I can't see that he has too much care about that, other than his love for us, and that he has a desire that no men should perish, that all of them should come to God and get back on track. So back to the story. The girl is, she's sad, and she finds out what the deal Dad made, and the old boy says he can't go back on the deal. And the girl, oddly enough, doesn't want Dad to go back on the deal. And I think that's very important in this story. The girl is, she's wailing and she's crying, but she's mourning her virginity. And as a matter of fact, she asked for 2 months to go up to some mountains and mourn for her virginity. Now, that's an important part of this. I mean, because the girl's not even questioning God's, the pact that the dad made with God. It's very important what deals we make with God, because I think that there's a kingship involved. God's a king, and there's a kingship involved. And once a king is given a word or decreed a thing, he can't go back on it, or elsewise he won't be believable. You can see that with Menking. You can see with the guy who had John the Baptist's head ordered to be removed because he gave the word to the little girl that he would give to her what she wanted if she danced for him. I mean, it's important for a king to follow through with his word. then the guy, the dad, he himself was a king. So he's got to stand up. I believe he was king. He's got to stand up to his word. But now, your point is, why is not God all been out of shape about this girl going to lose her life? What I'm going to say may sound callous or cruel, but I think it has to be said, because there's a lot of cases like this in the Bible. I really don't think a flesh life means a whole lot to God. I mean, flesh lives are spent, gained, spawned, and lost and won at the drop of a second, all through the book and all through existence. So God can't really be all wrapped up into the flesh, life, and death. God's spending his time and his energy on something that matters to him, which is the spirit and the soul. Now, let's go to the girl. Sure, she had to lose her life, but we don't know what the girl's condition was spiritually. It sounds like her condition was pretty darn good, because she's not going to ask her dad to go back on his word and foul up his kingship. And it doesn't even say in the book that she drops on her knees and asks God to get out of this pact between dad and God. So it's like she accepts this more than you can accept this, which I think is interesting. Now, we don't know what's going to happen when this girl dies, when she's sacrificed. We really don't know what God is going to have in store for her. I myself, and most Shepherd's Chapel students don't believe this, but I myself believe that we're being recycled. I don't believe that our lives end here. I don't believe this was the first time we wore bodies. Not to say carbon flesh bodies, but I think we've been born over and over until God gets us where we want, where he wants us to be, before we can finally be acceptable to his reality, to his state of being. Until we become acceptable, I think we just keep on going around this merry-go-round, not to say here on earth, but some existence somewhere, some way, so we can learn why we shouldn't kill. We can learn why we shouldn't be assholes. We can learn why we should love over hate. We can learn why we need to choose God over the devil. And I think we just keep on going and going until finally we become a state that we're so evolved as a spiritual state, we finally become acceptable to God. Now, we don't know where that girl, who she was in the past life. We don't know who she's going to be in an afterlife. You may not believe in either one. I'm not sure what your beliefs are. I didn't do enough of your videos yet to understand, where you're coming from. But I have to believe, in order for God to do this and allow this girl to be taken, as well as all sacrifices, as well as all life that's been taken unjustly, in an unjust manner. I have to think that it's going to work out in the end. I have to think that people that, let's say, suffer a horrible death, I think, well, maybe they needed to learn something from a horrible death. Maybe they gave horrible deaths the first time they were around, in the first age. I don't know if you're a gap theorist or not, but, maybe think about all the people that were in the concentration camp, the Germans. We always think about the Jews. What about the Germans? What about the damage those guys did to themselves? Well, maybe they're going to be born as something like the Jews somewhere on another planet. Be treated that same way, so they can understand, and they can get, and they can know why not to do that. Now, back to that girl. Maybe she was an angel. Maybe she wasn't a normal person. Maybe she was put there in that body for that purpose, because God is omnipotent, and maybe he did know that was going to happen. Maybe he did know the guy was going to open his mouth and say the wrong thing, or it could have been the right thing. Who could say? But maybe he did know, and maybe that girl's, her whole point of being was just to be there that day of the sacrifice, so she could fulfill that need. So, my point is, you can't really bust God's balls over that in the Bible for that reason. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff in the Bible. I myself believe the Bible was tampered with and changed. I've always, I'm not going to say always felt this, but I'm coming to realize that if somebody could tear a page out of a Bible and wipe their ass with it, certainly in the old days when they're retranscribing the words and composing the King James Version back in the 1611, if they were able to do that to a Bible, certainly they're able to change a word here and there, or change a meaning. Hell, they can write Bibles right now today in California for homosexuals and gay folks, and then write in all kind of stuff saying that David was gay with Jonathan, blah blah blah, and all kind of things to add in their beliefs of a Bible. So if they can do that today, what makes us think that they couldn't do it back then? So it could be that, you know, we're reading some stuff in the Bible that has tampered with. That being said, I do believe that the intent of God is very much still within those pages of that Bible. And if we're looking for goodness and if we're looking for God, we're going to find it. If we're looking for loopholes and reasons to call God an asshole, guess what? We're going to find that too. And we're not going to gain anything by that. But, you know, we're only going to be banging our own head against a wall trying to learn a hard lesson. And hell, who knows, we may have learned these hard lessons before 100 times. I'm not sure. But anyway, I did want to just share a moment kind of talking with you, almost kind of like a discussion. I would like to say I wouldn't mind having a discussion with you on Skype or maybe through YouTube or something like that. But I'm probably going to be away from the internet for a couple of weeks because I think the storm is most likely going to knock our power off for a couple of weeks down here in the south. So I probably won't be able to get around to a computer for a while. But anyway, I do find your method of teaching interesting, and I do appreciate your thoughts, you sharing your thoughts and whatnot. I don't agree with some of the stuff you're saying, but I do appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Okay, guy, I got to get back to getting ready for hurricanes and whatnot. So take it easy, people of Earth. Peace.